It's hard to describe how surreal that first month felt. I don't remember going to sleep more than 3 or 4 times, but suddenly I realized that it had been weeks since they had pulled me out of that alien tube and put me to work. A whole month. It's incredible because in retrospect it definitely didn't feel that long, but it had to be, right? Here we were, already into the second month of our campaign against Advent, and I was just welcoming our latest batch of new recruits. It was a smaller group than last time, but no less unique. First there was Ryan Lewis, or Rhino as he preferred to be called. He seemed normal enough, a man of good military bearings. But then there was Cazador, the Huntress. It was hard to tell through her thick accent, but she was apparently part of some, well, I hesitate to call it a cult, but that's essentially what it sounded like. I wonder if that strange deity she worshipped is related to that blood god that Karn always kept going on about. And then there was this guy. The less said about him, the better. I guess everyone copes with the Advent Authority in their own way. As soon as I finished making my rounds through the barracks, I started surveying the latest scan reports, but Bradford quickly interrupted with a dire warning. Apparently, Advent was moving forward with the Avatar project. It was something I was apparently going to need to keep an eye on. No one seemed to know what would happen once the project was complete, but Bradford seemed sure it would be something bad. I wasn't really sure if I could trust his judgment, but it seemed best to err on the side of caution. I'd barely had any time to collect my thoughts before I was contacted again, this time by Bedos, the leader of the skirmishers. Apparently one of their operatives, an engineer named Dr. Neves, had gotten trapped behind enemy lines, and Bedos wanted me to send in a squad to rescue her. I'm not sure why the skirmishers couldn't handle it themselves, but I didn't question it. I quickly headed down to the barracks to pick out some suitable recruits. Mark Richards and Don Neal seemed like the obvious choice. They had handled the last rescue mission flawlessly, and they seemed keen on the idea of taking on another one. Mox, perhaps eager to pay them back for the rescue, or perhaps just eager to make up for his last botched mission performance, also leapt at the chance for another mission. I rounded out the team with one of the other rookies, a real laid-back country boy who called himself Potato. He seemed to be quickly developing a friendly rivalry with Mark. Or maybe it wasn't so friendly. I still have a hard time reading all these strange human emotions. I hoped it would be enough. Operation Devil's Tongue would be the first time we were doing a favor for Bedos and her skirmishers, so I wanted things to start off on the right foot.
We're being asked to assist in a rescue operation for a Resistance VIP currently trapped by Advent in the tunnels beneath the city center. I'm not sure what our target was up to, but the Resistance needs us to get him out of there. Hostile activity in the area is very likely, so keep your heads up. Resistance VIP is hiding in the tunnels not far from your position. One of their field operatives is also on site to assist you in the rescue. Firebrand is standing by, but be careful. We'll have limited opportunities to set up a viable extraction point down there.
Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back. Here we are, back on another rescue mission, though this time is a bit different than the time that we rescued Mox. With the last rescue mission, we had to worry about alarm ratings and potentially infinite enemy reinforcements.
Moving to designated position.
Plus, we were only working with a 3-man squad, and one of our soldiers had to be tasked with carrying Mox to the extraction zone.
Agreed distance. Let's do this.
But this time we're working with a full 4-man squad. No time limits, no special rules. And oh, hold on. Alright, that looks like our first enemy pod. An officer and a stun lancer.
Got eyes on a hostile.
Simple enough.
Commander, remember, no matter how tough things get down here, we can't evac until we complete the mission.
Oh, well, that's a bit of a curveball. See, now, Bradford, this is why I don't trust you. That's really the sort of special rule you should have told me before we started this mission. Now, unfortunately, this enemy pod has positioned itself in such a way that it can see all of the surrounding blocking terrain. That means if I move one of my soldiers up into one of those spaces, they'll immediately be spotted, and the whole squad will lose its stealth status. But then again, this is a good opportunity to pick off that officer.
Understood. Moving out.
It looks like Don's got a 70% chance to hit with his shotgun, so I think that's about as good as it's going to get. I'll go ahead and take my chances. Good thing I did. Looks like a sneak attack, flanking, critical hit.
We're visible here.
Now that, of course, has alerted the stun lancer. But he's done what I assumed he would do, which is to move up closer and entrench himself in cover. I already know what I want to do here, so let's just see if Mox lets me down again. Well, right through the wall then. Okay. Wonky level geometry aside, I love that move, when it works. It does a decent amount of damage, and it forces the enemy unit out of cover for some quick follow-up flanking shots. And that scratches the stun lancer off the battlefield. And since there are no other targets available, we'll go ahead and set Mark on Overwatch.
Shut up, listen.
Alright, so far so good. There is another enemy pod nearby, but I can't help but notice there's no timer we have to deal with. So that makes things a lot simpler. We can just keep moving up slowly and cautiously, taking on the pods one at a time.
I move.
Though I just realized I put Mark in a position with no cover, but it's a bit too late to do anything about that.
Shh, I think I heard something.
Okay, still no visual contact on that enemy pod, which gives us a little more time for maneuvering. We're actually not that far from the VIP now, so we're probably going to run into at least 2 or 3 more pods once we get past this next wall.
Roger that.
We'll just keep advancing our guys a little bit at a time, setting them into defensive positions wherever possible, and keeping them on Overwatch for the inevitable contact.
Attacking on sight. Quiet, do you hear something? Heads up, got movement.
Okay, yeah, now we're hearing 2 pods, so there's definitely at least 2 pods of enemies on the other side of this wall. There are also 2 potential points of entry through this wall, so I have to keep in mind that once we do start a fight, the other pod might end up coming through the other entrance to flank us. I think we'll try our luck with this opening on the left side.
Rolling. Without the introduction of human DNA, these creatures once operating under the guise of thin men now show their true form. Purely reptilian species.
No reason for them to hide. The aliens don't need an infiltration unit anymore.
Okay, well, looks like our second enemy pod is a doozy. We've got an Advent Trooper, we've got a Purifier, and we've got a lovely Viper. I'm sure the men are thrilled to meet one of the curvier Xenos, but I don't think XCOM will survive 2 unconventional romances. So we're going to need to take that Viper out as efficiently as possible. I mean, take her out in the tactical sense, not like with dinner and a movie. You know what I mean. Of course, that Purifier is a complicating factor here, because in these close quarters, he's particularly dangerous. I can't move up to engage the Viper without putting us in range of his flamethrower. Unfortunately, I don't really see a way around it. We're going to have to risk moving up. If we're lucky, we'll be able to take out the Purifier this turn as well. Well, not off to a great start. That was only a glancing hit, so she's still got most of her hit points.
Confirmed.
We'll bring up Mark next, and hopefully he can finish her off. Nope, another graze. Okay, well, she's still got half her health, and we have that Purifier to deal with, so... Well, Mox doesn't have a lot of good options here, but Don, at least, can take out that Advent Trooper with 100% certainty, so let's go ahead and do that.
This is for you.
I can't afford to move Mox up into a more exposed position, so I think I'm just going to have to leverage his ability to make 2 attacks in a single turn, and see if I can take out this Viper. And another glancing blow. Well, we'll just have to hedge our bets and use a grenade to finish her off. In fact, if I position this carefully, the Acid Cloud might even do a little lingering damage to the Purifier when he advances on us. Sorry, Snake Waifu. No time for love on the battlefield. Yes, I am a hypocrite. Ooh. Okay, well that wasn't so bad. 2 of our guys are on fire, but they can walk it off. First things first, let's start moving Dawn up into a flanking position.
Position confirmed.
And we might as well take the shot while we're here. Not a kill, but it gives us some more options. Now, Potato and Mark have basically lost their turns. They need to retreat and hunker down to keep themselves from burning to death. Huh. Actually, Mark's not on fire, so, yeah, he's got a pretty good chance to hit. So, let's take the shot. And that removes the second Advent pod from the board.
I go as ordered. I am watching.
Okay, now we know there's a third enemy pod over here somewhere. We heard it a couple of turns ago. We'll just keep moving up cautiously.
On Overwatch. Roger that. I'm on it.
As you command.
Heading out.
I await their
Got it
approach.
covered.
Huh. Still not seeing or hearing another pod. Well, I guess we'll move our designated rescuer, Dawn, up to grab the VIP. Oh, and there's our evac zone. Nope, scratch that. That is enemy reinforcements. 2 enemy reinforcements, actually. Okay, this just got a little trickier.
Firebrand is setting up for evac. We've got multiple contacts closing on your position. It's an ambush. Hold your ground. That's affirmative.
Alright, we're in a good position to take on this closer group of reinforcements.
Affirmative. Covering
But I think Dawn's going to have to hold off the other group of reinforcements long enough for the rest of our guys to get into that room.
Okay.
I think it's a good idea to spread our guys out a little bit. We don't know what direction this pod's going to go once their boots hit the ground.
Come get some. Moving to Overwatch.
Watch order confirmed.
Now, Dawn's not going to have visual on that other enemy pod when it comes down because of that closed door. So for now, we're not going to needlessly expose him to possible enemy fire. We'll just keep him back near the desk, and we'll go ahead and entrench the VIP here as well. Alright, and here they come. Looks like an Advent Trooper and a sectoid. That's not so bad. And we have no idea what's showing up over there, but it sounds like there's 2 of them. Nice. Looks like our boys took down that first reinforcement pod with no problem. And there's the other pod. Looks like a trooper and an officer. And there's a third reinforcements flare. I guess Don will have to hold off those guys on the north by himself a little longer, because I need to keep at least a few of these guys on the south side to deal with this next batch of reinforcements. Well, not a flanking shot, but I might as well take it anyway. Ah, and down he goes. It was particularly important to take out that officer because he comes standard equipped with grenades. And area damage like that is the biggest danger to our VIP right now. I can't even move into the room without giving that Advent Trooper a clear flanking shot on us. So for now, the rest of our squad will just sit tight out here in the tunnel waiting for this second batch of reinforcements to show up.
It's killing time. Affirmative, covering now.
Reloading weapon.
I'm on it.
I stand ready.
Advent forces sighted.
Only 2 troopers this time. Definitely nothing to worry about.
Target eliminated.
And that takes care of that.
I'm taking fire.
Oh, and given the sudden camera shift, I'm guessing that's where our next batch of reinforcements is coming in. Okay, well let's start getting the rest of the squad into the room with Don and the VIP.
Moving.
Ooh, and Potato deftly dispatches that last Advent trooper. I'll admit, I mostly just took that shot on a lark. I was actually planning to have Don move into a flanking position to finish off that guy. But thanks to Potato, now Don can use his turn to prepare for the next batch of enemies.
Let's rock.
No trespassers.
Scanning. Got it covered.
Okay, looks like another trooper and a second trooper.
Eyes on an Advent position.
More easy kills. And Don clearly turns on the wall hacks for that kill.
No longer a threat.
Alright, that just leaves us with one more trooper to deal with, and okay, well, there is yet another batch of reinforcements coming in. But there's our extraction point, finally.
Before things get any worse. We've picked up a lull in their forces. It looks like they're running out of reinforcements. Let's get moving before that changes.
Alright, well, first let's clear the evac zone. We'll let Don take this guy out as messily as possible. There we go. Now we'll have the VIP sprint straight to the extraction zone so we can get her off the board. And the rest of our guys, I think they'll actually hang back and wait for this next batch of reinforcements. Might as well get a bit more XP while we're here. Though we will still shuffle them at least a little closer to the evac zone.
Headed there now. VIP secure and in position for Firebrand has
evac.
the VIP. Time to get the rest of the squad out of there before they get overrun by those damn things. I've got eyes on Advent troops.
Alright, just 2 more troopers. They're not even trying at this point.
Hit the target.
Uh-oh, but it looks like our ambush actually failed us this time. Okay, well, I think we're going to start making a fighting withdrawal. As much as I'd like to stick around and mix it up with these guys, I don't know if more reinforcements are going to keep piling on top of them.
Rolling.
Wow, and there's Potato with another low probability shot. Way to go, man. Alright, we'll keep moving everyone back and put them into Overwatch for when that other trooper comes after us.
Overwatch.
I will move. I will not waver.
And we'll bring Don up to provide support.
Heading to that location. Overwatch.
Okay, looks like we've got an Overwatch standoff. And the tunnels are starting to collapse around us, so let's cut this short. And there we go, tunnels are clear. Now, unless more reinforcements show up, we should be able to extract at our leisure. Now, I'm going to start moving people into position to extract, but I'm not actually going to have them extract just yet. I want to keep them on the field just in case another reinforcement pod does show up before we can pull everyone out. Nope, looks like it's still clear, so I guess we can just head on out then.
To that location. Packing it in.
Tactical retreat.
Just in time. Evac confirmed.
All XCOM operatives are secure. Firebrand is returning to base.
Excellent work out there.
Another flawless mission under our belt. Not too shabby.
Advent would like to assure all citizens that despite recent attacks and loss of life attributed to radical fringe elements, our peacekeeping forces continue to put your safety and security before all other priorities.
Wow. Way to make me feel bad about winning. And there's our boys on the propaganda poster looking like right proper badasses. Well, they deserve it.
End the Elder's false vision. That is the purpose of all skirmishers. Until it is done, there can be no other path for us.
Now let's see here. Mox is up another level, so... Wrath looks like a mobile melee strike. Zero In provides stacking bonuses for consecutive attacks. Ooh, and lightning reflexes. That one lets you ignore the first reaction shot against you each turn. That's a good one. Neither of his other abilities look all that great, but I do like the idea of taking another melee ability. I do really love playing with that Justice attack he's got. But yeah, I just can't justify not taking lightning reflexes. It's a great passive defense ability. Now, I'm tempted to make Mark my first combat spec specialist, but since I just learned he can eventually learn both sides of the skill tree anyway, I'm going to start him off as a medical specialist. And Don will, of course, become a Blade Master. And it looks like Potato has decided to become a sharpshooter, which is good because I think that's actually what he wanted. All told, Operation Devil's Tongue had gone off without a hitch. Dr. Neves had been rescued and everyone had made it back safely. Bedos was ecstatic, lauding our victory and openly reveling in her lust for spilling Advent's blood. It was mildly disturbing, but the good news was that apparently Dr. Neves was so impressed with our rescue operation that she had asked if she could join the Avengers crew. Eager to take some of the pressure off our other recent conscript in the engineering department, I quickly approved the request. If I was going to keep running XCOM, for better or worse, then I was going to need to stop worrying about Advent's peacekeeping forces. With that in mind, I asked Dr. Neves to start working on a guerrilla training center, while our other engineer worked on clearing more space for additional facilities. Afterwards, the spokesman contacted me again, this time with another end-of-month status report. Had it really been another month already? Where did the time go? I suppose the important thing is that apparently we had gotten quite a bit done, and he was very pleased with our progress. Then Bradford followed up with his usual naysaying about poor Mordenna, warning that we needed to find her before it was too late. I contacted Mordenna shortly afterwards, but she didn't seem particularly concerned, stating that she was eager to get together with me as well. I didn't have much time to dwell on it because there were other messages waiting. The next was another dire-looking message from Bradford, this time warning about Advent's current activities. Apparently they were trying to disrupt our newly established communication system, increasing the encryption of their own communications, and they were looking to shut down the black market operation that we had recently come into contact with. Still, I couldn't help but be distracted. I was still thinking about Mordenna. Maybe it really was a good idea for us to meet in person sooner rather than later. Volk, the leader of the Reapers, seemed keen on the idea as well, offering to run support on a covert mission intended to pinpoint Mordenna's exact location. After giving it some thought, I decided to let Praetel Mox head up the team, accompanied by Vlad Kapesh and another one of our rookies, Purge Dome. I was a bit hesitant to send a rookie on a sensitive mission like this, but as usual he enthusiastically reassured me that he had this. I have to respect that kind of confidence. With that done, I turned my attention back towards the scanning reports. There were a few different points of interest scattered across Africa, including our latest protection payments from the nearby resistance cell. But once again, Tygan was calling for me down in the lab, so I asked Bradford to use his best judgment in prioritizing where we should head first. It turned out that Tygan had been quite busy since the last time I had spoken to him. First, he had chopped up one of the Advent stun lancers, and while he hadn't found anything particularly unusual about the body, he had padded out his report with some notes on how we could reverse engineer the stun weaponry that lancers used in the field. I liked the idea of stocking the armory with some non-lethal weaponry, so I quickly relayed the order to Lily to start manufacturing them for field use, though I'm not sure she really picked up on the whole non-lethal part. Oh well. Tygan had also chopped up one of those psychic priests we had recovered, which made me feel more than a little guilty. Killing Advent peacekeepers was already bad enough, but an alien preacher? That really did feel wrong. Apparently his research had revealed how to build some sort of psychic failsafe device, which he felt could be useful in the field, but it didn't make me feel any better about what we had done. And then he had apparently dissected that turret we had recovered from the Advent train. That one struck me as being particularly odd, since it seemed like the sort of thing that Lily Shen should have probably handled. Regardless, his report indicated that he was fairly certain we would be able to reverse engineer the turret and add some automated defenses to the Avenger, once we had sufficient resources anyway. But in the meantime, he was eager to put his new knowledge of Advent weaponry to use, so I reluctantly let him begin a 2-week research project on developing some man-portable Gauss weaponry. I headed back to the bridge to see what Bradford was up to in my absence. Apparently he had prioritized picking up our latest payment first, of course, but then he had directed the Avenger's crew to investigate a truck full of stolen Advent equipment. Bradford was in the midst of following up a lead on where the truck full of stolen equipment had come from, and he was actively encouraging me to dedicate resources towards trying to open up communications with what he hoped was another resistance group we could exploit. Work with. Another resistance group we could work with. But before we could get too far, Volk suddenly butted in on the conversation. Apparently the squad we had sent to track down Mordenna had run afoul of an Advent patrol, and I was urgently needed in the Situation Room. I quickly ordered the Sky Ranger to be mobilized for an emergency extraction, but the area was apparently swarming with the Lost, so things were looking rather grim.
You've got no time to waste. Break cover and move to the extraction point on the double.
And we're back, this time with another mission that appears to be new to the War of the Chosen expansion. Now at a glance, I'm going to assume that this extraction mission is similar to the third part of that mission where we first met Mordenna. We basically just need to cross this section of ruined town, fending off the Lost and maybe 1 or 2 pods of Advent troops.
I'm on the move.
Moving.
Scanning. Covering now.
It is under my watch.
Okay, well, it looks like we will be dealing with Advent reinforcements. Hopefully that won't be a regular thing.
We're picking up Advent response forces inbound on your position.
Alright, well, my first instinct is to get us up into elevated terrain. This balcony should make an ideal position to ambush that reinforcement pod from.
Moving.
I will go.
Come get some. Affirmative. Covering now.
Non-evade detection.
Now let's see what they're sending after us. Alright, it's just an officer and a trooper. That's nothing we can't handle.
Advent comes. That's it!
And we're off to a good start. We dropped the officer pretty efficiently, but we do still have that frail trooper on the battlefield. Though at a glance, it looks like he set himself up for a perfect elevated flanking shot.
Orders confirmed. Moving out.
2 open windows and Purge Dome just has to crash through the one that's still closed. I guess that's just the kind of guy he is. Oof, well, he missed a 90% shot, but at least he managed to take out both of those windows. But that's fine, I can still move Mox into a flanking position as well. There we go. Now I can understand missing a 90% shot. That's still a 1 in 10 chance to miss. But if we had somehow ended up missing on that 100% chance shot, then I'd start to take an issue with the RNG.
Scanning. Readings are all over the place. The Lost are almost right on top of you.
Now, from what I've seen so far, the Lost tend to spawn at street level, inside stores, at the end of roads. I'm hoping that by sticking to the upper floors of this apartment complex, I can largely avoid them, at least until I've gotten at least halfway across the map towards the extraction zone.
Ready to rock.
And since this is a mission without a time limit, there's no reason for me not to take my time. I should reload or stop and go on Overwatch whenever possible. Huh. That's odd. Did that Lost pod somehow spot me through the building? Well, I guess there's nothing I can do about that now, so let's just keep pushing through this apartment building. We've still got a ways to go before we get to that extraction zone. Though if that Lost pod did somehow spot us, then it's even more important now for me to keep my guys on Overwatch, just in case.
Heading there now. On Overwatch.
To that position.
Moving out.
I will not waver.
Moving to Overwatch. Huh?
You know, I noticed there's still an alien and a Lost turn, so that would imply that there's still some Advent pods active on the board. Maybe they spotted each other and they're fighting off screen? I'm not actually sure if that can happen, but it would be pretty neat. Well, it looks like we're all out of buildings, so I guess we're going to have to approach that balcony and get a better view of what's going on outside. Guess I might as well check out this door, too, while I'm at it. Oh, well, never mind. I guess it's one of those fake doors, like in haunted houses.
Closing on target position now. I'm all over it. Overwatch. Quiet. Do you hear something?
Okay, Vlad, why don't you take a peek out that window and see what there is to see. Well, it looks clear. Let's go ahead and move Mox and Dome up as well.
Closing on target position now.
A-10 Batal.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
I stand ready. They are moving.
Well, we're definitely hearing a lot of action out there, and... Oh, wait. Okay, here comes one. I'm not gonna lie, that's gotta be one of the goofiest climbing animations I've ever seen. But, goofy or not, that means we've made contact with the enemy. The action music is spiking, so now it's time to be on our guard. I'm tempted to dive right down to street level, but I don't want to risk being immediately surrounded, so I guess for now we should hang back on the balcony, see if we can get a better view of things. Nothing so far, but at least Dome managed to take out another window.
I go as ordered.
Moving to designated position.
Well, it still looks clear, so I guess next turn we'll move down to street level and keep moving towards the extraction zone. Ah, there we go. There's the zombie swarm we all knew was coming. Well, that ambush could have gone better, but at least we took out one of them. It looks like it's just a straight shot down the street now to the Sky Ranger, so let's get down there and start killing our way through these things. I'm just worried it's going to turn out there's a whole building full of these things right behind us.
That's affirmative. Advent troops.
Uh-oh, well, only two behind us, but two gun-toting Advent troopers in front of us. And Dome is not in a great position there. Alright, well, first things first, let's see if we can clear out these Lost.
Target neutralized.
Nicely done.
Heads down. Burning through ammo fast.
Ah, maybe I should have gone ahead and risked using that grenade. Well, let me see what I can do with Mox and Vlad. I think I need to prioritize that trooper down there since he's already flanking Dome. If I could just find a good spot. Oh, here we go. Okay, this will provide Vlad with full cover, but if he can't take out this other Advent trooper, then he's going to be just as exposed as Dome is. So this is definitely a risky maneuver. There we go. Crisis narrowly averted. Now Mox could take out that Lost on elevated position. That's a pretty sure thing, but he only has one bullet left in his gun. So I think I need to focus on the Advent Trooper first. This might be a good chance to dispense some justice. Ha! Oh, I love that move so much. Alright, well now I can safely afford to waste the last of my bullets on this other Zombo. But it actually managed to survive, so I guess it's a good thing I went for the Trooper first. And there's another swarm coming. This could get ugly. Alright, well, I think the obvious thing to do here is to reload our guns and start mowing these things down before they can reach us. There's one.
It's down.
And two.
Enemy eliminated. My ammo's running low.
And three. Damn, all out of gun food.
Target neutralized.
We really need to get our hands on some extended mags. Well, hopefully Dome can finish off the last two.
I'm ready. Target eliminated.
Well, one's better than none, I guess. Mox can't do much about the one down on the street, but at least he can finish off the one on the overpass.
The light has left them.
And we'll move him down to street level so he doesn't get left too far behind.
I move.
Oh, good. It couldn't actually move far enough to reach us. Well, that makes this easy then.
Moving out.
Okay, that clears the path towards the Sky Ranger again, so let's start moving up.
Moving to Overwatch.
I will move.
Rolling out.
Attacking on sight.
We're almost there, but I don't want to get too cocky. With our luck, we're going to end up running into another swarm, or an advent pod, or Mordenna.
I go.
So we need to be ready for anything.
Heading to that location. On it. On Overwatch.
I am watching.
Okay, so there is another swarm incoming, and it's probably going to spawn right in front of us, but otherwise it looks clear.
Scanning. Heading to that location.
Moving there.
Got it covered.
Watch order confirmed.
Hey, you hear anything?
And here they come.
Miss. Miss the target.
I must focus my strikes.
Wow, good job, guys. All those targets on the field, and you didn't manage to hit even one of them. That takes some real, skill. Wow, there's not really much in the way of well-defended approaches here. Well, we're so close to the evac zone at this point that I don't think I'm worried about attracting more swarms, so let's just go ahead and drop these guys with a grenade. Whoops, well, that does complicate things a little bit. Not too much, though. I like how all the zombies are staring right at him now. It almost makes me feel bad about doing this.
Catch.
Now that was immensely satisfying, though it did cost us some more loot. Well, let's bring up Dome and Mox and see if we can pick off that last Lost.
Good copy. Moving on target. Oh yeah!
I will go.
And there we go. The path is clear.
And reloading.
Got it covered. Stepping off.
A great distance. Returning for reassignment.
Packing it in. I'm gone. All members of Wraith 1 have been successfully evac'd.
Nicely done. Another flawless run.
I have yet to discover exactly what type of exposure led to the creation of these lost civilians, but their numbers would indicate a widespread effect.
Okay, looks like 2 promotions to take care of, so of course Vlad is getting Shredder, and Purge Dome has decided to become a specialist. That's a little surprising, but I can live with it. Despite all the panic and worry, Operation Dismal Glove actually went quite smoothly. Mox and the others made it back safely and cheerfully informed me that Mordenna apparently lived somewhere in Africa. It wasn't much of a revelation, since I had already assumed that's where she lived anyway, but the Reapers were so impressed that they offered to provide additional support to XCOM in the future, and were eager to get underway with another covert operation intended to pinpoint Mordenna's location. Again, I contacted Mordenna afterwards about the whole thing. Who could even tell which side was good or evil anymore? Mordenna took things in stride, laying out her own pragmatic view of the situation, justifying both of our relative positions in the conflict. I'll admit it did make me feel a little better, and redoubled my resolve to eventually meet up with her in person. Once I got off the line with her, I was paged down to the engineering department. Apparently work had been completed on our very first new facility, the Guerrilla Training Center. I was given a brief tour of the new equipment. Apparently it could be used to help train our rookies in their preferred specialization in the relative safety of the Avenger, rather than by simply sending them out into the field and hoping for the best. It also allowed for the opportunity to enact new organization-wide tactical orders, and I briefly skimmed a list of possible new tactics that Bradford had assembled for me. My eyes were instantly drawn to the one at the top of the list, larger squad sizes. I approved the cost and then reassigned Doc Neves to help with clearing out more of the alien debris. I'll admit it had been a good week. 2 flawless operations, some better facilities and tactics put into place to ensure the safety of our men, and my relationship with Mordenna was continuing to move in a healthier direction. Aside from all the soldiers she had tried to murder last week. But all in all, I think things were finally starting to move in a direction that I was actually pretty happy with.